Welcome back to another episode of the Not Just Fleet podcast. I'm joined today by Drew Facundo and our special guest Mike, and I'm Brent. Together, we're pushing, I think, 85 years of fleet knowledge and experience between us at this point. And so we're going to have some fun. Facundo is out traveling, so don't worry about his background. So Mike, thanks for coming on. Welcome our special guest. We've never seen you before. You're a new person here, so
it's first time.
Yeah, long time listener, first time caller. Yep. So, but no, man, welcome back. We've missed you.
He's also a client.
So yeah, we've missed you. We've missed the pantry. We've been going hungry.
Welcome
I'm going hungry.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was really good.
So, all right. Brief intro who we are, just in case. Just a brief intro.
Why? We don't do that. I did the intro. We have experience. People know us. We're cool.
Perfect. That's awesome. Off we go. So no intro. So what are we talking about today, guys?
Yeah. So Mike, you're our guest, and I know that you came with an idea. So lead us off, brother. What do you got?
I definitely came with an idea. So I think one way, something that I've been doing a lot lately, whether it be on management side, technician side, different things like that, I would like to talk today about how to nail the interview for whatever job you're looking for, when to start preparing, how to prepare, different things like that, different things to bring to interviews, how to dress, how to talk, how to act, because I think this is something that a lot of people could use a refresher in. And even that, like if you're on your way to an interview right now and just looking for something quick to say, hey, all right, this would be good to bring up, do it. It's a good quick video for you. And I think we'll jump into it. I can start. I think the biggest thing when preparing for an interview, reading the job description. Know what you're applying for. Even if you don't want to read 4 or 5 pages of a job description, put it in Chat GPT and say, like, give me the summary, give me a paragraph summary so I know what I'm applying for. I think anybody applying for anything should know what they're applying for right off the rip, but maybe we should do a little research before we start this interview process, so we're not saying things that aren't relative to our job or something like that. So I think that's step one.
I'll be honest, I'm going to jump in on that. If you're going to Chat GPT the job description to make it smaller, it's probably not the right job for you.
Look.
So
anything's better than nothing. I'll say that.
I mean, I'm with you on that. Like, yeah, if you're first starting out and you're getting overwhelmed by it, absolutely. Go ahead and use that. I would say if you're going to go the AI route, though, put the job description in there and then have it ask you interview questions relevant to the job and pregame.
Love that. That was going to be
another great thing too is know what the company is all about. Go to the company website, read the about page, look at the CEO, maybe your hiring manager is on there. Look at their mission statement, figure out exactly what they're all about, and remember some key points and questions about the company, or maybe not even questions, points. Because you start, in an interview and somebody, starts talking through a few things, and you can throw in like, oh, wow, the company's been around since, the early 70s. You guys have really made a lot of progress since then. And that's one of those things that just kind of tips off your person that you're in the interview with and says, oh, wow, this person's done a little bit of homework about the company. And that, again, gets you some kudos and kind of makes people remember you.
Right. And just
when I prepared.
Go on.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say basic research of like the Instagram, the LinkedIn. Wait, my bad. I'm back, baby. I'm back. We're just the basic research of the LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever of past events that they've done, like within a month or whatever, that you could bring up during the interview, something along those lines. It's huge, especially if you're applying for a management role.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to say the preparation that we were talking about is super interesting. You guys know, and maybe some of the listeners know, that I got recruited for the FBI. In that process, I didn't know what I was doing. I did obviously, hadn't applied for the FBI before, And so that preparation process was definitely intense. But when I went in there, I felt really good about knowing about the organization, like Drew was saying. I mean, I even went as far as like, I need to make sure, like, when I was preparing and looking at the interview, like, some interview questions that I had and kind of going through them, I was actually wearing the same suit and tie and shoes, so I felt comfortable. There was nothing like, I wasn't doing it in like shorts and a t-shirt. And so when I went in there, I knew how I was going to feel with the jacket on and the shoes that I was wearing, right? It wasn't going to be like, oh damn, these shoes gave me blisters when I walked, to the interview. So
Right.
it was all of those things that, especially for a technician, right, where they don't typically, hopefully they are getting a little bit dressed up, but they typically, maybe not what you expect. And so go that extra mile to do those things.
You
Yeah,
talked about it quite a bit, Facundo. So go a little bit deeper on how you should dress, and depending on kind of the role that you're interviewing for. Elaborate on that for us.
Yeah, so I think I've always not so much thinking this for the interview, but thinking about this for the job. Like, so when I was the fleet manager, I always dressed to the level of the folks that I was working with, right? Like that I would be presenting to. Obviously, as a technician, you can't go in there with a suit and tie and then go to work with that, because maybe something that you would wear to dinner. Like if I'm interviewing a technician, like if they walk in there in like a t-shirt and jeans, I'm like, damn, I mean, don't judge a book by its cover. Maybe they're awesome, but that's not going to be the first great, a good first impression. I would love to see a technician roll up in like, I don't know, khakis and a button-up shirt, right? That could be it. If they're wearing a tie, or if they're wearing, even like nice jeans and a blazer or something like that is impressive, right? Because there's a little bit of those soft skills, like a little bit of, they're going the extra mile. They know what they're doing. They're there for an interview. They're not going to meet somebody at a bar. And so I think dressing up a little bit more than what you're comfortable with, I think is good, right? And obviously, you guys can elaborate a bit more on some of the things you've seen, but that's what I would hope to see on the when they show up.
So I would say one thing: when I applied for my technician job at Tarpon Springs, or I'm sorry, my management job at Tarpon Springs when I was a technician, I went full blown suit. I showed up to work that day in my technician's clothes. I brought a suit with me. It was in my truck. When it was 30 minutes before my interview, I went and got, well, a little before that, but I went and got dressed, went in my suit, went over there and waited. And everyone's like, wow, you changed this? Like, absolutely. This is the job I want. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. And if they see you every day in blue collar clothes, when you show up in white collar clothes, it definitely leaves a lasting impression. Like you said, even if it's just a polo and a tie, but also you have to understand the job you're applying for. If you're applying for like an executive level management position where you're going to be going to board meetings, you're going to be talking to directors, you're going to be talking to city managers, things like that. You need to dress the part for that. I definitely think that there does need to be some suit and tie aspect of it. I think when we're going into management style interviews, we shouldn't be wearing shorts and hey dudes and a polo, even though we live in Florida and it's kind of laxed and things like that. Maybe we should still be wearing at least a button-down shirt. You can leave the top open, you can leave the chesties out a little bit, let them flow.
Oh boy, is the
But
Italian horn going to be hanging out at that point
Italian
too?
horn hanging out, hair slick to the side. But we need to like have some professionalism in it. Like I said, and Facundo, you hit on a great point right there. You need to know your audience and who you're going to be talking to every day. There are days when I go to work wearing just my normal star on my shirt. There's days where I go wearing a tie, and there's days where I go full suit. It just depends on who I'm talking to, what I have going on, and sometimes it's changed up a little bit. But there's different days where you need to do things like that. Absolutely, when you're going to be across the street at City Hall all day, you're going to dress up a lot more because you're going to be around different type of executives.
So before we move
so
on from this point, I just wanted to add one more thing that maybe we're not thinking about. But when you go into fleets, I mean, a lot of the folks in fleets are retiring and moving on. There's a message that you can send when you show up a little bit differently, which is like, hey, I'm a candidate you should consider. to move up the ranks, right? And there's something that if you show up like that, you're going to stand out from the rest of the crowd. Like, hey, I understand what the heck is going on here. So anyway, I just wanted to put that up there, put
And
that out there.
one thing to go on top of that too, good point. Suits are expensive. So that's why if anybody even comes in with just a button-up shirt, khakis, and a tie, I can appreciate that 100%. I know not everybody can do like a suit or something like that, but if you can put it together enough to throw a tie on or something like that, I'm like, okay, this guy at least can, or this guy or girl can at least understand what's going on and what we're doing and the type of work that we're performing. So there's definitely different aspects to it, because I can always say, suit and tie, and I recommend suit and tie anytime you go anywhere for an interview. I don't even care if you're doing fries at McDonald's, suit and tie all day. My grandmother always just tell me, I don't care what you do in life, make sure the best that ever did it. And that's one thing where anywhere I go to interview, anywhere I go to anything, I always want to try to leave a lasting impression. And that's one thing that I always try for my people who are interviewing. I always try to give them that same tip as well.
No, yeah, 100%. And I mean, yes, suits are expensive. There's a ton of places to rent them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know that you have a big interview coming up and you don't necessarily have the budget, go to the rental shop, grab a rental suit, and turn it back in when you're done. No big deal. Then you're not out the money if you don't need the suit, but at least you can get through the interview. And we lost Facundo. Oh, man.
We're going to keep flying with this because that's what we do in this show.
Yep,
But you know what? I think we've touched on a bunch of different outfits and levels of presentation, right? So there may be people listening to this podcast, that aren't fortunate enough to even go to the rental shop, right? And I think there's all different ways to approach it. My number one thing, and Facundo kind of touched on it, I want somebody showing up that they look like they respect me and they respect themselves and they want to portray themselves as a professional. So if it comes to the point where one of our potential listeners, says, hey man, I don't have the money for this or that, you know what? If you go down to, my favorite place to grab a good pair of boxer briefs, good old Walmart, if you're down at Walmart, you know what? You can get a nice brand new polo shirt from Walmart and, some khaki pants at Walmart, and you can probably come out of there for $30, right? I think what we're trying to get across to everybody is some of the fashion statements that people have now, which is great. You're going to the club, you're hanging out with your buddies on the weekend, you're in the shop, the ripped jeans or, just very, very relaxed fits. That's not something that people are looking for in an interview. Somebody wants you to look like have safe attire on, something similar that you would wear in the shop, but also something that, makes you look clean and makes you look like you care about yourself, because it also portrays how your workmanship is going to resemble or be presented as well. And one thing that I always talk to people about is their craftsmanship. You want to always look like you're dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and that's how you should dress, even if it's a regular, plain T-shirt. If that's, what you can afford or that's what you have, hey, make sure the T-shirt is ironed or it just came out of the dryer and it's not all wrinkled, right? You just don't want to look like you just woke up and got out of bed, So I think we kind of have definitely touched on enough of the dress. Mike talked about this a couple minutes ago, and I want to start it off. How early do you guys feel is respectful to show up for an interview? Brent?
30 minutes. Oh, sorry.
I'm before you. Yeah, 15 minutes minimum to get checked in. And then 15 minutes minimum. Be in the parking lot 30 minutes before and walk in 15 before. But this way you can get your head right sitting in the parking lot and get yourself ready, get yourself prepared. You can have a minute, that Zen moment to calm down and, get the nerves shaken off a little bit. go back through, reread the job description or some key points or anything. And then, yeah, go in and be ready 15 minutes before. I wouldn't show up ridiculously early, though, because that's almost a detractor, because it's like, oh, you're either over wanting this, and so you're gonna like over present yourself for what you actually offer, or do you really have anything else going on? You know,
I was
especially
hoping
like
you said that.
like the more entry level type of thing and everything. It's like, well, I'm hoping that you have a job currently, and hopefully you can schedule your time appropriately for the interview. But yeah, try to be in the parking lot 30 minutes and walk in the front door 15 early.
Yeah, I think, from the hiring manager perspective on an interview, I don't want somebody there more than 15 minutes beforehand, because my day is minute by minute, and there may be a point in time where I'm ready to speak to somebody interviewing a job 1 or 2 minutes before I want, the scheduled time. I never, introduce myself to somebody after the time that the interview is scheduled, unless there's some type of emergency. But if somebody is checking in where I work at the dispatch center 30 minutes beforehand, it makes me feel anxious about the interview. And I don't want to go into the interview being like, oh man, geez, I'm holding this person up or something like that. So I think 30 out in the parking lot, 15 minutes inside is fine. And don't expect somebody that is interviewing you to welcome you in 15 minutes beforehand. You're going to get in there 15 minutes beforehand, and you're going to be kind of acclimating yourself to the environment.
So I will say I am the opposite. I am 30 minutes in the lobby, and big thing, let's all get this out in the open. No phone in the lobby. No phone in the lobby, no phone in the interview, no phone, and leave it in your car. I don't care if your house is burning down, leave it in your car. Like, I have had so many phones go off within the past 6 months in interviews, and just ringing, and people, oh, sorry, and they'll take it out of their pocket, like their chest pocket, and then turn off, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? But back to that, I am 30 minutes early in the lobby, waiting, hands on knees, just rocking her, like ready to go. I'm prepped. I'm there. And the reason I say that is because currently we have like a team of 4 who will interview you. We all meet in the interview room 30 minutes prior to your scheduled interview. By the time we go through, we reread all the resumes. We go through with extra questions that we want to hit on, different things like that. We develop a game plan. Let's say we have 15 minutes. Now, I'm not going to hold it against you, but like, if you could start 15 minutes early and I can get back to my day and we can get this thing done, great. If not, cool. But I would say 15 minutes is great. 30 minutes is great. But anything like, if we're not there at least 10 minutes early, that's a problem. Now I understand traffic and things can happen, but you need to be there at least 10 minutes early.
Mm-hmm.
But me professionally, me is what I would do. I'm there 30 minutes, baby.
Now,
Chill.
I will add to that real quick. Before your interview day, pre-drive over and know that you know where you're going.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then pre-scope it out. Because if you're going to City Hall, I'm with you, Mike. Yeah, the 30 minutes is more appropriate at a City Hall type thing, or at a, more office building type thing. If you're going to the shop, or, like Drew's shop is a little bit, smaller operation and everything, if there's not space to hang out, it's probably not appropriate to be there a half hour early.
100%.
So, kind of scope it out, see what's going on, and if it is, a city hall or an executive office or something, walk in ahead of time. Be dressed nice, not full interview dress, but be dressed nice enough and walk in and just be like, hey, I have an interview coming up. Where am I going to be sitting at? Like it'll be a couple days later or the next week or something. Where's an appropriate place that I can hang out ahead of time and talk with the receptionist? They'll give you pointers.
100%.
That's a good point. So like, when you get to like a public works facility and it's like, 101 Main Street, building 8. And then you drive into the facility and you're like, none of them have numbers. Where do I go? right? So good point, right? Which building am
Yep.
I going to? Go into the building. Hey, is this the building I'm going to be in? Okay, cool. I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There,
And
I
you
think any
might,
of our answers, there is no right or wrong. It's whatever you're
Mhm.
most comfortable with, type thing. Like, are you
And-
okay with sitting down for 30 minutes on your ass doing nothing, just like basically with your hands on your lap and just staring at a wall? You know, in our waiting room, we have pictures of all the sheriffs, and I could see the sheriffs for the first 100 years. And I was in there for so long. On the way up to the interview, I could remember every sheriff's name, the date, because that's all I looked at. I was so bored. I was like, all right, I just got to.
Are any of
read
them on like horses? Are any of them like on horses or anything like that?
Their pictures aren't, but yes, they used to only have like horses or like bikes, or they didn't have like cars back in the day. Especially when Pinellas County was first, they didn't have things like that. Especially how rural this used to be. It wasn't anything like that.
The really weird thing is that was an interview question for Mike, was to answer every sheriff in the history.
Yeah.
Name them.
Who
Name
was
them
the
now. Name them
third?
now.
What was
Who
the
was-
middle name of the
Yeah.
sheriff of the
Yeah.
third sheriff?
In 1886, who was the sheriff?
Right?
Yeah.
Mike?
Sorry.
Mike?
I can't
Mike?
remember now.
He says the wrong thing, and it's like, in Austin Powers where he hits the button, they drop back and they go in the little pit and they catch on fire.
No
Yeah.
way. What's that show that's on now?
I'm not dead. I'm not dead, but I'm badly burned. I'm badly burned.
Wasn't that Will Ferrell?
No, that was yes, it was Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell was the one who fell down. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And what's that game show that they have on now with the blue and the red people, and if you do something wrong, they like kill you or something like that?
It's
Was that Squid
Tile.
Games or whatever?
Tile.
Squid Game. Yeah, dude. No,
I
Squid
was
Game.
going to say, was that
scares
the
the
U.S.
crap out of me.
the U.S. Senate? Is that the U.S. Senate?
God, we can only hope. Can we get the vote button for that one? All right, we're not a political show, so stop it.
Yeah, not political.
Stop
yeah.
it.
I just thought it was funny.
All
I
right, so let's say I'm now on to my next point. You're there early.
Hold on. Let me circle back.
Oh,
Mike brought up a
sorry.
great point.
I thought I was
about-
the guest here. My bad.
No,
My bad.
know your place, Mike. Know your place. Drew, please.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry. Go ahead.
based on the disconnect and being the most recent one here, Facundo's the guest now.
That is true.
I'm the guest. I'm sorry. I froze, guys. I'm sorry.
He was busy leaf peeping, He had to leave for a minute. He got
Yeah, it's
distracted by the oak tree.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Was
here.
that a Jap swamp maple? I think that's a swamp maple in the back. But
Not
anyhow,
sure what it is. It's nice.
so we're talking about this interview process from both aspects, and Mike brought up a great point about in person interviewing for a position and not having your phone out. I think as somebody that is conducting an interview, the rudest thing you can do is be on your phone and or distracted by your telephone while you're interviewing somebody. At the point in time of an interview, you need to make sure that person feels like the most special, the most important thing in your life for that hour that you're talking to them. And if you're distracted constantly by your phone, or if you're picking up your phone, like we all, again, have busy careers. Everybody that is in the fleet management industry, we've seen those, org charts. And at the end of every spot is a fleet manager. Like, we're doing everything. But before the interview comes, internally talk to your team and say, hey, I got an interview coming in at 1:00. This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm having the interview, right? Like, you don't want people barging in on the room that you're doing the interview. Make sure you talk to whomever the person is that's greeting them, right? So where I work, it's the dispatch center. I go to the person in the dispatch center and I say, hey, Facundo Teixeira is coming in to meet with me at 1:00. Please greet him and show him to, the lounge, and I will, pick him up in the lounge or something like that. So that way, when the person comes, they feel special. They feel like you care about them, and that makes them feel comfortable as well. So make sure the person feels special that you're interviewing.
I do like that.
All right, where are you going now,
LinkedIn?
host? Let's go.
wanna-
Jeez.
Who? What? What'd you say?
No, go ahead, Facundo. I mean, you just showed up to the party. Might as well add something in.
Yeah. Hey. So LinkedIn. We were talking about LinkedIn a little bit. Are we there? Did we talk about that while I was frozen, or?
No,
We
we're
haven't
waiting
talked
for
about
you to get back.
So LinkedIn. So I was at some event a couple months ago, and I was talking to a technician from Colorado, And I was like, hey man, are you on LinkedIn? And he's like, no, I'm, isn't that for when you're looking for a job? And I was like, well, it can be, but it can also be where you're kind of building a little bit of your brand, right? Like you have to get your thoughts out there, right? And get your style out there, right? There's a lot of technicians that are posting stuff on LinkedIn that's really interesting. Um, and so I think it's a missed opportunity by a lot of technicians that they don't go on there to kind of keep their fingers on the pulse. I mean, I see a lot of times fleet managers posting, hey, I'm hiring a technician. I'm hiring this kind of diesel tech. I'm hiring this, right? I mean, I think as a technician right now, probably the coolest thing about being a technician right now is you can go anywhere in the country and be a tech. No problem. Um, and if you're not on there building a brand and like talking about what you're doing, I can guarantee you probably one of the jobs that are probably being recruited some of the most in our industry is probably technicians on LinkedIn. I mean, you could poach so many people on there. If I was a fleet manager, I would be stealing all kinds of people on there. So take the time to build your profile, keep it PG, keep it professional, keep it um, the way that you carry yourself and you talk about that, you talk about things right that way on LinkedIn. I mean, not if you're, F this and F that, don't do that. But it's a good way to kind of establish a little bit of your brand, and people will pick up on that.
Mhm.
And it's not just for when you're looking for a job. I think we've all agreed and talked about like the best time to look for a job is when you don't need one, because you're going to find that opportunity that like, man, like I can move to fill in the blank and I can be doing fill in the blank for this organization making this much money. Let's do it, right? Or let's give it a shot. So anyway, it's my 2 cents on LinkedIn. We can get
No,
into
yeah, and it
other stuff. Yeah.
like with that with LinkedIn and everything is also, make sure that you're building your brand like Facundo was saying, but also build your community. Start searching out fleet manager and friend everyone. If you're already in government fleet, if you're not in government fleet, do it anyway. We're awesome. We're great to work for. Your paycheck will generally never bounce. But figure out that community that you're a member of and branch out and start meeting people electronically. Just reach out and friend people on there, do your connection requests and build that community around you. Because if you're just an island on LinkedIn, you're not going to see the job opportunities and everything that's available. So it's, when I first started out on LinkedIn, I was keeping it to people that I only physically knew and had met. And now I'm pretty much accepting everyone that isn't an obvious scam. And I think I have almost 1,000 connections on LinkedIn now. And the interesting articles and the things that pop up that are industry relative, but also personally relative, that it's like, oh, I had missed this in normal media, that there's major events going on. The amount of trade shows, at the level that I'm at now that I would love to be able to go to that I get to see on LinkedIn that I had no idea existed is pretty cool.
There's also
But
like,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go.
Yeah, I was going to say there's also little tips and tricks on LinkedIn that you can manipulate the algorithm. So, like, for example, if you're working on, let's see, I don't know, let me think. If you're dropping a transmission, right? Once you've got it in a secure spot and you dropped it, you can pose for a little picture. A selfie goes much, with a transmission in the background with the obvious shop background, will do much better on the LinkedIn algorithm than just taking a picture of the transmission. There's other
Mm,
things like when you make a post, you can have the first few lines as a hook. I can't remember exactly the characters, but it's an interesting hook. When you write on, a post, um, putting questions on there to have people comment on your things generates, impressions. So, you know, you can put stuff on LinkedIn at the wrong time and the wrong kind of things, and it'll be seen by very few people. And there's ways to start to manipulate that so you're getting out in front of the right people, right? That's also there. It's a
mm.
little bit of a game, but once you understand it, you get the hang of it, and you start getting out in front of the right people.
And
So I think
with
this is the
that,
perfect.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm just going to jump a quick algorithm thing for LinkedIn that I just heard about. Um, don't just thumbs up and like the post. Comment, but do a meaningful comment, not one of the pre-formulated congratulations or okay, great. Actually write something in there, respond to it, and then give it the like. If you like it first, oddly, it kills your brand. It kills your engagement off of your own page. So if you're trying to engage with other people to get more people seeing you, make the comment first and then hit the like button.
Interesting
Didn't know that.
segue that we have here about talking about your brand. We should, I think, dive into, and I think this, it seems like this whole interview thing, we could talk about it all night, but your brand starts with the impression that you make with your resume. Your resume is going to be the initial hook, like Facundo alluded to. Make sure that you spend enough time researching resumes. Michael brought it up at the beginning. You know, you can use different AI platforms to help, craft your resume. Don't make it super cookie cutter. Don't put irrelevant information that's from 10 years ago. Adjust it, as your career moves on. And when you send in a resume for a job posting, make sure it is completely up to date to the second. We're talking about interviewing. I just interviewed, 6 or 8 different people, and you don't know how many people, when I tried to do some research about an applicant, I said, "Oh, you're working at, Tewksbury Toyota," and they're like, "Oh no, I'm not at Tewksbury Toyota anymore. I'm at Lowell Honda." And I'm like, "Well, why doesn't it say Lowell Honda on your resume? Like, come on, guys,
Unless,
So
yeah, unless you got the job in between application and now, it better be up to date.
right, exactly. So building your own brand, LinkedIn, make sure you have a current photo on there too. One thing when I see people on LinkedIn and they don't have a photo, or it potentially, is real odd, or they're from, far away, make sure,
Right.
uh, getting a professional photo taken is under $100. You can get a headshot done really easily, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. But your resume and your LinkedIn is going to be something that recruiting people look at immediately. And make sure you spend some time on it, and also put the accolades in there. If there's something that you've done in college or tech school that relates directly to the job, whether it's a first place in some type of internal competition, or 100% put ASEs or manufacturer specific certifications on there. That's what people want,
EVTs.
that yes, EVTs. People want to see that you're trying to better yourself and you're taking the initiative to better yourself. We've spoken about that on the show before, but man, I can't hammer a good, clean, crisp resume anymore.
Drew, can I ask you a follow-up question for something you said? You said did you say using AI to help you create your resume? So talk a little bit more about that. But so using an existing resume to make it better, or using AI to help you create a template and then you kind of fill in the blanks given your appropriate experience?
No, I don't think you're going to go right in blank, right? I haven't had many great experiences, and I think AI is one of those things that I'm working with a bunch right now just to try and figure out exactly how to use it correctly. AI doesn't do good with a blank canvas. So you can find tons of resume templates online. I'll tell you what, and unfortunate for me at the time, but fortunately, um, the local unemployment office in your city or town is an amazing resource, especially for resumes. UTI, where I went to college, amazing resource for resumes. I mean, these people do it all the time. So reach out to those things. I was unemployed for a short period of time at the beginning of COVID, transitioning between jobs. The unemployment office loves helping people write resumes, and they do it all the time. So if you don't have a resume or you're new at it, reach out to these resources. But then AI can help you craft it with putting updates on there, right? Like you already have a template and you say, hey, I got these new certifications, or I just reorganized and updated all the part numbers in my parts room, and I'm great at project management or something like that. Adding those little bits in there is what I would use AI for.
I just recently helped somebody, a shop supervisor looking to move, and this was pretty cool. I tested it on AI. He had written like city of blah blah blah, and he had literally a paragraph like shop supervisor, city of blah blah blah, and wrote a paragraph. Heavy duty technician, city of blah blah blah, wrote a paragraph. I was like, can you send me the Word or whatever document version of it? Or I was like, send me your resume. He sent it to me. I was like, ooh. So then I basically put it in. I think it was like Copilot. I was like, hey, can you turn this into a resume for government or whatever? And so I fed it, and it spit it right back out. Right, city of blah blah blah, and it gave me the bullet points. So even if you don't know how to write a resume, right, like do it like that, like just write a paragraph and just have it broken up
Mm-hmm.
and tell AI put it in there and help me craft it as that. I thought that was a pretty cool.
So I will put out the warning though. Again, do the research and know your audience. My HR department and the system that is used here in Nevada, the hiring team doesn't get to see your resume even if you attach it. So print it out on nice paper, have plenty of copies, and bring it with you and hand it to the hiring team that's interviewing you, because we might not get that. Copies of anything else is also really good. If you have ASEs, if you have a copy of your ASE list page or anything, bring it. Again, spend a little bit of money on nice paper. We don't, I'm not going to judge you down, but it feels nice to have good paper in your hand versus the see-through that I can read page 3 from the first page. So again, going back to dress the part, will also print the part. Paper, yeah, it's expensive and everything, but is spending $20 on the interview to make yourself different worth it? Generally, it probably is.
It's funny you bring that up. That's one thing that I talked with Drew about recently too. When I interview, the one thing I always do, I bring a copy of memos that I've written, if they're important, like bigger memos that I've written, project or case studies that I've done, emails that I've sent, a budget that I've made. I will bring a copy of that, put it in like leather bound, maybe not leather bound, but like nice plastic binders, if you were folders, but make it look very nice, very presentable. All right, bye, Brent. See you later.
He might have just. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Wait, he's messing. Hello.
That was weird.
We're all back.
What happened?
I have no idea. The world glitched. Okay, we're back.
So
Mike,
anyway,
continue.
You were saying continue.
So leather-bound binders
bring your
and gold
memos
leaf.
you wrote, a budget that you've made, print it out on nice paper, make it presentable, bring enough copies for everybody, and hand that out with your resume on top. All that. Build a nice packet, almost like you're selling something to a city manager, like you're bringing something to a board meeting, like you're selling yourself. You're showing that, hey, this is what I've done. This is the quality of work that you're going to get when you hire me.
Good point, Mike. Hold on, I like that. But so maybe Drew's about to ask you the same question. So right, we're talking about middle managers. Maybe they can do something like that. A technician. So share more with folks that are listening. How can a technician do something similar? I think that's a fantastic point. But how do they? Because they can't bring in like here's a transmission I brought, right? Slam it down on the table. I just rebuilt this yesterday.
I would kill for that. Bring a guy in. Go rebuild a transmission on the desk. That'd be awesome.
Right?
Do it. I dare you.
So what can they put on there? Like how do they share that? I love
it. Easily, all your ASCs, EVTs, and BMW, Ford, Chevy, all your certifications, whatever certifications you have, print them, bring them. Not only that, bring a 30, 60, 90. This is something my wife taught me when I first started applying for management. Woo is right. Tell me, what are you going to do in your first 30 days? What are you going to do in your first 60 days, your 90 days? How are you going to check up with me? That'll let me know that, yes, this person has done the research for the position. They know their parts. They know that, hey, within the first 30 days, I'm going to learn how to put in a requisition to get a PO, to do this, to do this. So that way they understand the basics. They might not know it now, but they're telling me, hey, within 30 days, I'm going to know this. I'm going to be proficient at it. And then on top of that, within 60 days, I'll be entering my own requisitions and I'll be blah, 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 whatever. I'm just putting out requisitions right now. But something along those lines that you can show them a clear, obtainable goal with directions on how to get there, that is going to make you stand out more than a senior manager who's bringing the same stuff. That's going to make you stand out. It's going to make you stand out more than anybody else in that room.
Tell me if I'm totally off base here, but like, I don't know if I had this conversation, Mike, with you or with Drew, but like, a technician, like, hey, I saw a public works truck driving down the road, and it was this make and model, and I know that make and model has this engine. Well, guess what? I've worked on that engine, and I can rebuild that engine in an average of 19 out, whatever, right?
Right.
Did I have that conversation with one of you guys, or was it just a dream?
Wasn't me.
No, I think one of the things that you can do, though, is, technician productivity report, right? If you're getting any of that type of stuff from your leadership, we talked about building your brand. And I know, and my daughter was just messing with me in the back of the camera, which you couldn't see, which I won't bring her on, but everybody nowadays that is whatever, even us, right? We're doing selfies, we're doing things on LinkedIn, record and take a few selfies or whatever, or take some pictures of the projects that you're doing in the shop, right? I mean, you're doing some sort of huge in chassis, right? And it's a ISX 18 liter or something like that, this massive Cummins engine, and the holes, the jugs are as big as your fist or something like that. Hey, take some pictures of it or something like that. Make some type of content and put that in your. And this is a term that I got from a sales guy that I talked to just after Michael gave me the idea about this, which I'd never heard about. Like, this is brand new to me. And when Michael told me about it, I'm like, I can never believe that I didn't go to an interview with this. But the sales guy called it a brag bag. And I love that. It's like, hey, you got to know how to promote yourself. And Facundo had an awesome session recently. Know the difference between being a little too much about yourself and understanding how to promote yourself.
Yes, exactly. It'd be the difference between being cocking and knowing how to promote yourself, or your team, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
One good thing to bring to an interview too that I didn't think about. What about all your annual feedbacks, your monthly reviews, different things like that have been written about you? Those are all positive. Bring them to an interview. Say, hey, this is what my current boss is saying about me. These are all my annual. I can go and print off all mine right now and bring to an interview. That's something good that they would like to see as well. Shows where you're excelling, shows where you need help at, and you're being fully honest, which is great.
That's a good one with Mike, you touched on something really good with the feedback, or like the reviews. You should probably go in there with knowing, like, hey, what are some of your weaknesses, and don't pre-rehearse it too much. Just like, give us some honest, like, what is something that you struggled with, what's something that you're working on improving, how are you improving, like something like that, right? So they know that you're actually taking action on things. Because if you go in there and say that you're just a badass, they're going to be like, not my kind of guy. But if you're like, I've got this weakness, or I've been working on this, I think that kind of makes it a little bit more humble and self-aware of what they need to improve on.
Make it an honest weakness too. Don't just be like, oh, yeah, I'm a master technician and the best at everything in the world. And, I'm kind of weak at, talking with the customer.
That's a great example.
That's not your job. No one cares that you can't talk to the customer. Like, what's an actual weakness? Do you suck at electrical? Let us know. Don't necessarily, you definitely don't put it that way, but it's like, yeah, I definitely would enjoy working with someone to learn a lot more about base electrical or diagnostic, computer-based diag. But to counter that, I'm really good at nut and bolt mechanic that, if you tell me that this needs changed, I'm very efficient at changing it. So that's the other thing too. Always try to sell your weakness. Don't make your weakness your strength. Don't make your strength your weakness, but always counter a weakness with a positive.
All right,
That's true.
that's perfect. So I think this will help people prepare for interviews. Plus, I think this will kind of be fun for us. Mike, what's your top 2 questions that you ask a technician during an interview?
You're on the spot.
I'm going to give you one. My favorite question to ask during an interview, it's going to give away a lot, actually, if people. So during interviews, I will ask technicians, I will give them a dry erase marker. There's a whiteboard in the room, and I will say, you have 3 minutes. Draw me the best AC system you can. And I want them to draw a compressor, lines, evaporator, expansion valve. I want them to draw electrical. I want them to let me know where the high side is, where the low side is, where it's liquid, where it's vapor. If they want to get crazy deep into electrical, they can. I want like as much detail as possible. Bye, Facundo. See you later. I want as much detail as possible. And the more that you can give me and then explain it when you're done, I love that because that puts people on the spot and makes them nervous a little bit. And not that I want you to be nervous during an interview, but I want to see how you're going to react like when a true problem occurs right in front of you. Because then I'll say, okay, high side's high, low side's low. What's the problem? High side's high, low side's high. What's the problem? There's different things that you can ask. We all know because we were in the shop before, but there's different things that you should be able to do from that drawing and be like, all right, now what? So clogged orifice tube, what are my pressures going to look like? It's 90 degrees, humidity is whatever. What's my pressure going to look like? Different things like that. I love doing things like that.
All right. So if you were interviewing for a job at one of the shops that I used to work at, and I said, could you draw me a hydraulic circuit of a sander? How would you do on something like that, like a salt spreader? Could you show me the components of a salt spreader?
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Dickbag Drew. I can't draw you a salt spreader, but what I can draw you is stem to stern how the cat excavator works. And I can tell you how I learned all those processes. I could draw you all the X's and O's and blah, 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 blah. Great way to spin it. No, I can't because I've never worked on one before. But I do know how a fire truck ladder works, and I could teach you that. There's always different ways that you can spin the question being asked to make it positive in your favor. Nice jersey, by the way, nerd.
Second question. Come on. What's your second favorite question?
I always like the just because I like the answers that you get. I always like the especially for like supervisor or manager interview questions. We ask this a lot in Tarpon. If somebody called off and they put in a sick day, but you see them at a baseball game later, what do? And people be like, well, I'll confront them and I'll tell them that they're doing a bad job. Well, that's probably not the best answer to give somebody as you're going into management. You want to be like, I don't know, notify the direct supervisor, or something like that. But I like when when you can catch people off guard and they'll give you an honest answer. I say that's like probably my second favorite. I don't like to tell me about yourself. I don't like the things like that. I'll learn about you quick. We all in this chat and people watch it too. You can read people very good. That's why we're here. That's why we have the positions we have. So that's probably my two.
My number one favorite is if you could have any type of training, what would you want?
Ooh, that's really good.
Because it's a what's your weakness without anyone realizing it.
Right.
And also, I use it on the back end also because it gives me ideas for training for my shop.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, a lot of times the answers that I get are really stupid. But if you actually take a minute to think about it and it's like, yeah, no, I had a little bit of training on this or I've had a little bit of experience with this, but I struggle with it. It's a moment of honesty that catches them off guard. And if you're actually being honest as a candidate and not putting on a front, you're going to have a really good, genuine answer, and you're going to think about it for a second. And everyone that had a really quick response of, oh, electrical. Okay, cool. Next candidate, please.
Mhm.
But if they think about it and talk about it, and then you have a conversation about it, it's like, oh, you're actually being genuine and presenting your real self. And that goes a long way, at least to me.
I agree. I like that.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting too. And I think people that more understand the business won't just say electrical, right? They'll, hey, CAN bus. They'll say, some type of engine performance, fuel, evaporative emissions, electrical, or something like that. It won't just be electrical.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite question, most recently, and this is at like a technician level question. I love to ask, can you tell me the difference between a mechanic and a technician? And I did not get any answers that even described half of the things that I was talking about. Like, tell me the difference, and I think when you get, a technician knows how to follow a diagnostic flow chart. A technician understands that when you're going to diagnose even the simple electrical problem, you're going to go for a digital multimeter, not a test light. A technician is going to um, torque lug nuts with a torque stick and then do it by hand. Like those type of things separates, I think, the shining stars from people that are just doing it because they, I don't know, want a job or, hey, it's something that my family's always done. I want somebody, that is going to rise above the rest. And a technician is what, before I was in leadership, that's what I always said I was, and if anybody addresses anybody in my shop and they say, oh, hey, the mechanic, it's like, no. We don't have mechanics here. We have technicians. So, and if you'd like to speak to somebody, it's like a ma'am, miss, mister type of thing. Hey, the technicians are doing this and the technicians are doing that. We're not mechanics by any means, I don't know. I think I go back to the, what is the most common repair in your shop type of thing, like Mike talked about, and Mike helped me through this in all these guys when I was just interviewing, for a technician position and talked about skill-based scenarios. We have a ton of issues with, in the ambulance industry, guys go to hospitals after doing a call and they just like to leave all kinds of electrical things on, right? So my question to technicians was, okay, you have a truck that comes in and, it's a slow crank or the battery's dead. Where do you go? And the very first thing everybody's like, oh, I got a jump pack and I do this. And I'm like, okay, so now we know the level of, experience that you have. You're not even trying to assess the situation to see what was going on. I didn't even get like, oh, I turn the key on and I try to see like, kind of quick thing. You're a road guy, right? You go up to a truck and you don't know what's going on. Hey, turn the headlights on. How bright are the headlights? What do I have to, without using any tools, how am I going to judge what base voltage is in this vehicle? And that's the thing too. You put people through scenario-based testing and I think the other thing too, as a hiring manager, you got to kind of push people's buttons at the level that you're hiring for, right? You're hiring for a lube tech. You're not going to ask them, hey, what's the 5 steps of diagnosing the CAN bus or something like that and really screw them, or whatever. I think you got to be fair for the position that you're hiring for as well. All right, Facundo, as you're coming back from leaf peeping one more time, top 2 questions. When you were at your dad's shop, right? Or even, let's say, some situation that you've been at recently, hiring somebody or something that you think would be appropriate. Top 2 questions hiring somebody. What would you ask a potential candidate?
I always like to ask them, what do they like to do outside of work? Because I want to know them a little bit more as an individual. Like who's Mike when you're not at work? Like, so I can help, understand a little bit more about you, right? That's probably one of my favorite go-tos, and you can kind of then maybe that helps them loosen up a little bit too, right? Let's see, another one that I would ask them. I think I would want to know, like, I've asked this in different ways, but in summary, it's like, um, where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want to be doing in 5 years? Do you want to continue to be a technician, or do you have other things that you'd like to get into, right? Just so you kind of understand the person coming in your doors, right? It's somebody that's going to just want to continue to get better as a technician. That'll also give you a little bit of indication, like how much has this person done to improve themselves? Do they see themselves as progressing through the ranks, or I don't know, but what do you see yourself doing in 5 years? That's probably another one.
All right. What do we have for final comments, questions? What does everybody have to add before we wrap this thing up?
Well, I only did one question, so I feel kind of bad. Everyone else did too. So on the technician side, if it's journeyman mechanic level or higher, my other favorite question is explain a parasitic draw test, and then what is the basic reason for that test?
I'm
And
out.
surprisingly, the number of people that either don't know or try to over explain completely the wrong is incredible. And it's like, that's basic electrical 101. It's not as prevalent of a test as it used to be, but it's still one of those that's like, no, this is automotive electrical 101. You should really know how to do that if you're journeyman level.
I
think
that.
this is one of the things that like just gets me fired up so much about fleet. If I was to ask these same questions to my buddy that owns an aftermarket shop, Facundo, and you can kind of go from this. How many times are you going to run into something that has a parasitic draw? How many times are you going to really run into an AC system that is just nagging the crap out of you, right? Like you're working on a,
in Vegas all the time.
Well, but more in fleet than aftermarket, though, right? Like some Joe Smo brings their car in. Interesting.
AC work out here is constant, man. That's like the preliminary questionnaire I ask about AC, but I won't touch it in an interview, because if you didn't answer it correctly in writing, where you have Google and can freaking cheat, I'm not even talking to you.
Interesting.
I agree with that, especially down
but that's
here.
Yeah, that is like location based though. I can definitely see that. Like that's probably an oddball that we have also in the Southwest, is because it's so freaking hot here, batteries only last about 2.5 years. So is it the battery went bad, or do you have a draw that drew it down? So a parasitic draw is actually pretty common out here. In other parts of the country where the weather's nice, I could understand it being a little bit less of a test. But yeah, that's I've even had like dealership reports that we've had for warranty, and they go through parasitic draw. So, Facundo, you're muted, brother. Or your headset went dead. So, we're going to let Facundo talk if he... Oh, no, you're muted still, dude. Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about we've had more technical issues during I think we've survived through it pretty well,
Oh, yeah, we're doing good. All right, so while Facundo's trying to figure out that his earpods went dead and he needs to put them in the little box for a minute. Oh, your mic went dead. Your laugh mic went dead. Put it onto your headset. All right, yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah, but I'm not sure which mic it's on. So
it sounds beautiful.
Yeah, okay.
Go.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So I was going to say my closing thoughts. What was that? My closing thoughts, while I still have internet and you guys can hear me, is basically if folks are listening to this and they need help or have thoughts, or you need help how to prepare for interviews or looking for jobs or whatever, look me up on LinkedIn, or leave a comment somewhere, and leave me your contact information. I'll follow up. I'm probably speaking for all of you guys as well, but happy to help anybody out and help them find a job. I've actually got a couple folks that I'm talking to from different parts of the country that I'm in different positions that I'm helping. I'm trying to find some new jobs through my network. So I'm happy to help, and I'm sure you guys are as well.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, before we break this off, because we're not just fleet, I'm going to ask a not fleet question to everybody. Anybody have any upcoming vacation plans that they want to share, or, in the next 3 to 6 months, what do you got going on? And I can talk if you need a minute.
I have nothing.
You had nothing? Well, I mean, you are right there in a really good place, so every day's a vacation for you, Mike.
Baby.
Yeah. Drewski, you got anything?
Well, you guys know me better than anybody, but with a blended family, we're trying to plan our first kind of blended family vacation, and we're going to try to do a cruise. And I've never cruised before in my life. And you guys know my girlfriend has a daughter with Down syndrome, and she is amazing and gluten-free, which you can tell by the shape of me that I'm not allergic to any food or bev. So dealing with somebody who has dietary concerns is interesting as well. But we're going to try to cruise in the spring, so
Nice.
That should be fun. And I'm trying to get back out to Phoenix, man. I miss my Phoenix family. I was texting my mom, love you, miss you today. So we're trying to figure out a trip out to Phoenix, maybe right around my birthday, New Year's type of time.
Nice. Cruises are awesome. I've been on 6 of them, and they're fantastic. So,
I don't think I have any. Typically around spring break, go to Europe for 10 days. I mean, you can fly to Europe cheaper than you can fly just about anywhere in the US. And once you're there, if you do it right, it's pretty inexpensive, but we don't have anything planned at the moment. So
what do you have planned, Brent?
shout out to the East Coast people that are getting those cheap flights to Europe. It cost me 3 times more than you.
What?
Yeah.
Get a flight to Miami, and then you can.
That's the problem, is to get to Miami. I fly at the pointy end of the airplane, so it costs a lot more. Yeah, no, so yeah, I've got a couple trips planned, so I'm looking forward to it. I got Disneyland for Halloween. Yeah, at the time of recording, it's just before Halloween. So I got Disneyland for Halloween weekend, and then the week after that, we go to Barbados to Sandals Resort and hang out with.
Big sandals guy, this guy.
Absolutely, we're gonna make
it.
Emerald tier this trip, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. So yeah, no, looking forward to that. I love the
What do you
Caribbean.
get with Emerald? What do you get with Emerald tier? Do you get a bag of peanuts with that, or what do you get?
Emerald, the chef
Ruby
comes-
slippers? You get some ruby slippers with that?
Emerald slippers.
Slippers? You get some slippers with that?
Yeah. No, you get emerald earrings, I believe.
Oh, for you? Are you gonna wear the emerald earrings next time?
Absolutely. No, they're not for me. I can't say the rest of the phrase I wanted to say.
Earrings or not rings? What kind of rings we talking about here?
Easy, Mike. This is a PG-13 show.
I didn't say the word. I'm just asking the question.
PG-13.
I'm asking the question that's on everybody's mind. Okay, I ask the hard hitting questions. Okay,
We'll leave it unanswered just so they can send in their
Some
comments.
questions don't need to be that hard.
but
Yeah, no. So, no, it's just that Emerald status is like with any hotel chain or anything like that. You bump up as you spend a ton of money with them. And so, yeah, look it up and see how much money I've spent going to Sandals Resorts. But no, the Caribbean is absolutely awesome. The people are always great. The weather's good. And I also get to look forward to a fairly close front row seat to the invasion of Venezuela. So it's only like 180 miles away. So looking forward to that.
Since you're going to be so close, get some arepas in Venezuela. They're really good. The arepas. If you guys
I'm not going to Venezuela. I fly from out of Boston to get down to Barbados.
That's pretty close to Venezuela, isn't it? Boston, Venezuela is pretty close.
Same thing.
They're neighbors.
We are a sanctuary state, you know.
Yeah, I mean, however you can bend the map.
No politics. We're gonna kill the recording now.
That's it.
All right, everybody.
Take us home, Brent.
Thank you all for joining us on the Not Just Fleet podcast. Today we had Mr. Drew, Mr. Facundo, and our very special guest, Big Mike. So thank you for joining us. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. Join our LinkedIn page. I know it's not super active, but we are there. We do read all the comments and try to respond to them. So thank you all so much and have a great holiday season. Cheers.
Bye.
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 There it is. I'm happy it still lives on.